Hey, Toya, welcome to the His and Her Money Show.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing well. We're super glad that you decided to come on the show today, share your heart and your story with our audience today, because I know they're going to learn a ton from your journey. But before we get into your story, can you just take a moment and introduce yourself to everybody that's tuned in and let them know what you're all about?
Oh, sure. Hi, everyone. My name's Toya. I'm just a woman, a mother, a wife who was in debt. I was able to break free from it and I won the battle. And now, what I just want to do, I want to share, I want to give back, I want to let other people know what I've done. I want to pay it forward because I was able to learn from others. So I just want to give out and I hope it can help someone else. That's it.
So you were once deep in debt, like you just mentioned. So talk to us about how much debt you were in, the type of debt that it was, and how long it took you to break free.
$60,000. Oh boy, will I never forget that number. It was a mix of a lot of silly things. Credit cards, car loans, multiple personal loans for ridiculous reasons. Oh my goodness. And what was the third part of the question? I missed that. I'm sorry.
How long did it take you to break free?
Oh, 18 months. 18 months. Yes, 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 yes.
$60,000 destroyed in 18 months. Well, we definitely got to get into that to figure out how you were able to do that. That's awesome. But I'm curious, before we go there, you named a lot of different types of debt that came together to create this total of 60,000. So you weren't adverse to debt. It was something that was a part of your life, but then something caused a change in the way that you viewed your situation. Can you help us all understand how you went from just accumulating debt to the point of realization that you needed to do something differently than what you've been doing?
Absolutely. As far as the accumulation goes, I got mixed up with the build your credit game. No disrespect. If you like FICO and you want to be in debt, that's your business. Hurrah for you. But I was young, I was a waitress, and I had no credit. And I found out that no credit was just like bad credit. So, like, debt is aggressively marketed. So, I started out with, those high interest monthly finance fees and annual fee type credit cards. And then as I moved up on the tier, I got promoted to just the annual fee type cards. Then I got promoted to the no annual fee cards, but where I would rack up all these points and rewards. So I wanted to spend. Now, the personal loans, oh, talk about silly and ridiculous. I was so excited. I was thinking I was being rewarded. I thought I was being blessed with all of these offers, all of these credit cards. So I started receiving offers for personal loans. I was so silly and so uneducated. Not only did I take out one personal loan, it was three. And would you believe the third one? Oh my God. I took out the third one to save money. I know. Yes, yes, yes. And then from there, I was so excited. I started receiving, all of these auto financing offers, blank check, go get a car. And then I went and purchased the car. So 1 month, I got about maybe, I think it was about 22 bills 1 month just from, yes, credit cards, personal loans, and the auto loan. I said, wait a minute, what is happening? And then when I started opening up the statements, it would say things like, if you continue to pay the minimum payment on this credit card bill, it'll take you 7 years, 11 years, 9 years. I said, that's a long time to pay off $2,000 or $3,000. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? So what clicked was not only did I get those statements, I got my bank statements, and I realized all of our money was owed to someone else before we got the opportunity to spend it on things that mattered. I guess that's the best way I could sum that up. Yeah, it was silly and ridiculous.
So now that you had gathered all this information and it helped you to see your situation in a new light, like this wasn't the road that you should be taking, that's one thing. But then to actually kind of move into action mode is a whole nother thing. So talk about from a mental standpoint. Let's start with just the mental aspect of it, because before you thought you were doing the right thing. You were, like you said, you were trying to quote unquote build your credit and You did at one tier and then they bumped you up to another tier and they bumped you up to another tier. So that's one mindset. Now you have to shift into this mindset of, I need to get out of debt. Talk about just that, how you were able to switch your paradigm and think differently about your financial situation.
Okay. I was diagnosed with a terminal illness, and I had to, yes, and I had to pull out of my job. So one income flew out the window. We still had the same amount of expenses, but we didn't have the income. And I said, okay, we're in trouble. This is a disaster. We have to do something about this. So at that moment, I didn't have the answer, but I knew if we continued on this road, we would be on the street, homeless and destitute. And I just didn't want to have any parts of that. And when the reality hit that we could lose everything and not be able to do something like buy food. We couldn't buy food. This is how serious it was. We had to make like decisions. Well, are we going to buy food this week or are we going to pay this creditor? It was too much. And then with me being sick and in the hospital for about, oh my gosh, it was months I lived there. I also realized that my husband and I, we weren't working together as a team. So that right there is what made us both awake and realize we have got to do something different or we're going to like fall off this cliff. We saw the edge of the bridge. And if we kept going this way, we were going to fall right into the water and drown.
That's a sticking point for a lot of people, especially a lot of people that are tuned into the His and Her Money show, because we have a lot of couples. So talk about the point where you and your husband realized that you all were not working as a team. How did you all go about coming together as a team? Because that's a struggle for a lot of people.
Yes, well, a lot of prayer, of course. But as far as practical solutions, my husband didn't know how much the rent payment was. He didn't know how much the car note was. It was like, okay, the bills come in, Toya, you handle it, you pay everything, and there you go. That's how we're going to handle it. And the fact that we lived together and we were creating a life together, and one of us didn't know this just basic financial information about our family, we're like, okay, this is a huge miscommunication problem right here. And I'm sick. He can't, wake me up out of my state because it was a terminal like situation. I was in ICU. I lived in a hospital. He didn't know what to do. He didn't even know the companies that we had these debt obligations with. So when that realization came to him, he was terrified, of course, and he didn't know how to really talk to me about it because I was really sick and I was ill. And I said, okay, we're going to pray, like I said. And then what we started to do was amazing because after speaking, we found out my husband, he gets no joy out of writing any checks, paying any bills, managing anything. But I love to do that. So what we started to do was instead of just tracking our spending, like just, writing who's owed this amount, we have to pay this company, this company, this company, this, we actually started coming up with a plan of how we wanted to spend our money, which led to us getting our spending under control, which helped us get out of debt. So what we did was every month, the week before the first of that month, we would sit down. I would do the budget because he absolutely hated it, but he was present. He hates it. He still doesn't do it to this day and we're debt free. I sit down and I do the budget. And then we review the budget together. And he says what he agrees with, what he doesn't agree with what I've initially done. We talk it out, and then at some point we'll come to a consensus. Even if we don't fully agree, most times we do. But for example, he loves entertainment, media, the movies. I don't care anything about that. But he works hard, so he wants to go. So you know what? I'll paint my toenails so you can go buy your movie thing so we don't derail our financial plan. It pretty much works like that in our house now. So he knows, how to write checks and do everything now. So
Okay, now let's get into this debt-free journey that you all went on, because you talked about the fact that when the illness first hit and you lost the income, you all were having tough conversations about how are we going to buy food. And then yet, despite that, start to the journey, you were able to knock out $60,000 of debt in 18 months. So I know everybody's ears are perked up like, wait a minute, that math doesn't work. What did they do? How did they make this happen? So can you give them some background or some methods or some strategies that you all put into place to make this happen?
sure, well, a near-death experience to change your life anyway. But being that we lost an income, we needed some income because we had an income problem in addition to a spending problem. So I actually started a small side business I started selling like jewelry because in church, women, they like to look fancy, they like to be beautiful. So I said, if I could offer these women a solution, allow them to look nice, have their Sunday bling, their Sunday's best, but at a reasonable price, I'm pretty sure we could, generate some income. So he supports me. He's like, go on, babe, do it. And I just launched out into the deep. I did it. I started getting jewelry from other countries, some in America, and I would just start showing up at women's conferences, vending events, craft fairs, anything that was going on in my local community. And I would just go out there and I would hope to make something. And the first time I went out there, I made $250. Yeah, nice. So I said, you know what? We have something here. So I just kept doing that and kept doing that, and that generated income. And being that it almost replaced what we had, I mean, I was going hard body, hustling hardcore. But once we almost got that income up, we started cutting back. Like anything that was waste, anything that didn't have a purpose, anything that didn't add value to our lives, we dumped it. So, we got rid of cable. We kept the internet because that was something we agreed on. So he could watch like Netflix and Hulu, canceled those gym memberships we weren't using that we were paying for. Um, we would find coupons for food, discounts. Actually, for the food thing, I backtrack, I jumped over it. I started going to the food pantry. Like I had no more pride. I wasn't above anything. So I would stand out there on those lines and I would get some food for us to eat until we figured out how we could cut back. And then those were some of the things that we started to do. Vacations. We used to go on 2 vacations a year. We were broke. We could not afford to do that. As far as the car is concerned, I was like, okay, babe, we're just gonna have to knock it out. And everywhere we started cutting back, just basic without going super deep, we found about $600 that we were just putting to other uses, to other bills, not credit, not debt, just everyday things that we think we're entitled to or need to have here. I'm like, we don't need 200 channels we're not watching. That's ridiculous. So we started doing things like that, and we just, whatever penny, every dollar, every dime, flipping cushions, selling stuff on eBay. I had a lot of clothes, consignment shops. I mean, we were just out there trying to do whatever we could, and we were just smacking everything. Debt, smacking it. And then let's say that first debt, if it was $1,000, if I'm making 250 a Saturday, that's 1,000 a month. So, 1 month gone. And then I would take the minimum payment I was paying for that bill plus that extra 250 and then stacking it on the next debt and just wiping them out, wiping them out, wiping them out, wiping them out. And that's pretty much how we did it, simply put.
Now, for a lot of people, they hear the word budget and they cringe, right? Nobody likes the concept if they're not accustomed to it. Like you said, your husband, he want nothing to do with it. He's there, but he lets you do it. Help everybody understand how important learning how to create and stick to a budget is in the process of getting out of debt.
See that part you said there, stick to it. That is the key because you can just write things down. I'm going to spend this. I'm going to spend this. I'm going to spend this. But if you don't stick to it, it's useless. You can't just have a plan. You have to have a plan. You have to put it into action. So the word, our safe word was a spending plan because my husband still hates the word budget, but he likes the word spending plan. And it worked because, like I was saying before, if we're going to tell our money what to do, if we're going to assign our money its purpose, then we need to have a plan of how we're going to spend it and what we're going to do with it. And you have to be committed. I mean, every month, do this. In the beginning, it wasn't as easy for us to do it together, but about the second or third month, we were pros. So stick to it. We made some mistakes. I want people to know that when you do a budget, especially your first time, you may not get it right. And you know what? That's okay. As long as you have the mindset and you're willing to do the work and you're willing to change, don't beat yourself up because you made a mistake on the journey to get your finances in order. The point is to start, stick to it, learn from your mistakes, keep growing, and create a better plan for you and your family so your financial future will be better. That's how I would answer that question.
Love it. Now, you mentioned, I mean, when we talk about obstacles on the way to debt freedom, lots of things pop up. But you mentioned, for one, a terminal illness. So when obstacles like that and others came up, how did you not let that detour you? And how did you ultimately overcome the different obstacles that came along the way?
Okay. My hands to the good Lord. When I was in the hospital, I had a lot of time to read. I had a lot of time to reflect, and I started reading Proverbs in the Bible. I didn't know it would have money answers. I said, I just want to read something practical, not so super spiritual. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's just where I was at that moment. And I came across a verse, and I'm going to paraphrase it, but the gist of it was, oh my gosh, it was crazy. If you have signed, if you have co-signed for a friend, a neighbor, or anyone, run to that person. Don't sleep. Basically, beg to get your name removed from the loan. And I'm like, this is in the Bible? Really? So now I'm just in there like, well, I want to see everything that the money has to say. The Bible, excuse me, has to say about money. And then from there on, I came across a verse that said, the borrower is slave to the lender. Yikes, that is heavy. I said, oh my goodness. And then for some reason, no joke, my Bible fell. The nurse picked it up and it flipped like to some scripture in the Gospels. I don't remember which one. It was either Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. But it's talking about how you cannot have two masters. You serve one or you serve the other. You can't love God and money. And that was literally seconds after me seeing the borrower is slave to the lender. And then it clicked. I said, oh my gosh. I said, my money is running me. My money is my master. I have to learn how to master it. And once I take control of this, I know I can live a life on purpose. I know I can make a difference. I know I can do all of those things we wanted to do, like be generous and give and, save for our daughter's college, just basic things that you want to do, be able to feed, hungry children in other nations across the globe. That's something that we always wanted to do. We do that now, but it was just things like that. And I said, you know what? God has blessed me so much in America we have a lot of political issues, a lot of socioeconomic issues, but being here, we have privileges that people in other nations don't. So that led me to something called global, I believe it's global rich list. Yeah, global rich list. And I typed in our annual income, and what it was telling me around the world, the average person makes between $2 and $3. So at that moment, it clicked. I said, you know what? It's not so much just an income problem. We're not managing our money wisely, and we need to do better. And that was the start of my whole, I guess, transformation. Yeah.
Does your credit score have you down and looking for solutions? You may just find the answers you're looking for with Credit Sesame. Credit Sesame is your solution for a free no-hassle credit score, credit analysis, and tips for managing your money. They are here to help you take control of and have the tools you need to bring about a bright financial future. Get empowered today. There's no credit card required. Receive identity theft protection up to $50,000 and discover a marketplace for credit and loan officers that will help you get to your next level. Visit hisandhermoney.com/credit sesame for more details.
Now, you mentioned a lot of things that you all were doing in order to kind of speed up your process, and you all were selling here and selling there and getting rid of this and getting rid of that. What was the response like from your circle, your family, your friends, as you were doing this? Were they like cheering you on? Were they asking you, are you crazy? What was their response like to all of this?
Except for one person, my precious grandmother, everybody thought we had lost our minds. I have a large family and we're close, okay? So we have like all of these annual family events, outings, and then I have, my in-laws vacations here or there. Me and my husband decided together until we got this together, not a trip, not a movie, not an outing, not a vacation, nothing. Together, two letters, N-O. And we were strong about our no, and we didn't let people make us feel guilty about the no. And this is what blew my mind more than anything. For a bunch of people that cry broke, family, I love you, but it's just the facts. For a bunch of people that cry broke, how are you going to tell me and my family, because we're deciding not to go, you will lend us the money when I tell you we're getting out of debt, but you will lend us the money so we can go on this trip, on this outing, and pay you back. No. This is how we got to this in the first place. I'm already a slave to these creditors. I don't want to change and shift the family dynamic and lose a cousin because I couldn't afford to pay you back. So I said it just wasn't worth it in the long run to damage family relationships because we know we're broke. We're acknowledging we're broke and we want to change our lives. We're debt free. You know, I'm grateful now. I don't look my nose down on anybody, but now that we've done the 60,000 in 18 months, I'm getting calls out of the woodwork. How do you do it? What did you do? Oh my God, you have to help me. I have to come over. I got to bring over my bills. You got to get me on a plan. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. No problem. So even though they were not supportive, they treated us like we had three heads, like we completely lost our mind. I am grateful that at least they acknowledged that what we did worked. And now they're all walking around saying, you know what I say, well, I'm going to break free too. I'm going to break free and win. I'm doing my break free and win. And I did my spending tracker and I found out I was spending $60 a week on coffee. So I saved $60. So, you know, it's little things like that. And that's even an additional reward than us being debt free. We get to, like I said, pay it forward and help. So we're like impacting our family now, though they were not on board and they were not supportive, except my lovely grandmother.
I love that. I love that because you know what? That's usually how it goes. You're usually looked at differently from everybody until you win, until you break free and win. And then all of a sudden now it's like, so how'd you do that? Well, I've been trying to tell you this whole time and you've been laughing at me. So I just love how it all comes full circle. So to everybody listening, listen, you're going to be talked about. And that's good news. It's always good when broke people are making fun of your financial plans. That means you're headed in the right direction. Now, take us to that day, that moment in time where you all made your very last debt payment. Paint the picture for everybody that's tuned in.
Well, we had a countdown because I told you we were on a plan. So we knew the day that we were going to be debt free. And that's another thing that kept us motivated. And when the first of that month came, we knew within the second pay cycle of that month, that day, we were going to be debt free. So the month came in. It was the first. We're like, oh, yeah, it's about to go down. It's about to go down. And when the first paycheck cycle came, we paid it off. And you see it and you're like, oh, my gosh, I know. So now we're at the day. I woke up. You see my excitement now, and this already happened. I just woke up. The air smelled clean. It was fresh. It was crisp. I was like, today is the day. I could not wait for him to come home because we said we were going to press that button together. We pressed that button together, and I didn't know the screen. You know how confetti came up? How confetti looks? Confetti came up on the screen. It said, congratulations. When I tell you we were in the house screaming, we put on music, we were dancing, we popped some champagne. It was just like, woo! Like literally, we were just screaming like, yes, 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 yes. And then we sat down. We were like, huh. How does it feel to not have any shackles? How does it feel like to not be a slave anymore? So, you know, we were going back and forth adjusting like that. It went on for about 30 minutes. But the liberation, that's the best word I can say. The liberation to know that every single dollar that was going to come into our house from that moment forward was to build our wealth, to build our legacy, for us to build towards our goals, to be generous. It's like we will never, ever have to do this again. I am 33. I think I am pretty young to be out of debt and know we will never be there again. We're actually saving for our home. We are not taking out a loan for our home. We're just going to buy it. We're young enough to do it cash, but we're free. That's really all I can say. We are free. Oh my God, everybody out there, you can do it. This feeling, I'm telling you, you can break free, man. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. I'm sorry. I just got so excited because it's real. I've watched people, you know, I've seen videos, I've heard other people's stories, and I was on the other side of this for so long. And now I'm on this side. It's just a privilege, it's an honor, it's a blessing It works, guys. I was listening like you are, and now I'm over here. So I can't wait for you to be on this side telling other people how you did it. You can do this, man. Woo! Get out of debt. I'm excited. Let me calm down, Tally. I'm about to lose it because I'm at the day. Oh my God. Because we worked hard, man. I mean, I almost died, okay? And I lost my job. Well, that's not entirely true. I had to leave my job because of a sickness. My husband was stressed, and we didn't ask anyone for a dime. And it wasn't, a pride thing. We just knew that we could do this. And everyone around us was broke anyway. Why would we take money from broke people? They couldn't afford to give us anything. And we're free. We're My daughter won't even know what that is. Like, I can't, generations and generations of just debt, people not having money, the lights being cut off, every other month. I had to move like every 11 and 12 months as a child. Like, I did not grow up in a place where I learned about money. That was just not my truth. That was not my reality. And to come from nothing, I mean, the hood, the gutter, like that statistic, I'm that girl. And to be here, it it's amazing. It's liberation, and I'm just so grateful and thankful. And I'm gonna stop because I can do this for an hour. I'm gonna stop. I'm grateful. We worked hard, and now our life has changed forever. That's it. I'm done with that question.
I'm sure everybody is like feeling it, feeling your energy and loving your enthusiasm, and you're inspiring a ton of people. And I'm sure they're curious. You've mentioned a few times about the sickness. How are you doing today?
I have remnants of the sickness, but as y'all see, I am here today. I couldn't walk. I had to learn how to walk. I basically had two brain tumors. I don't want to get all into it, but I had two brain tumors. I had to have emergency surgery. I had to learn who I was, who my family was, how to walk, how to talk, how to eat. I mean, it's one thing to have all of your bodily functions and then you can't get up and walk. You can't lift your arm. You don't know who you are. So just that battle alone, I could have given up and said, well, okay. Nope. I believe that everything in life happens for a reason. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you react and how you respond and what you do with what happens to you.
Amen. Amen. Talk about you briefly touched on, but talk more about some of the things that you all have been able to do as a result of you all paying the price and working so hard to get out of debt. What are you able to do now that you couldn't do back then?
All those lovely things we cut out, like no vacations, no going out to eat. If I can tell it, I do not enjoy cooking. So that was a sacrifice for me. I'm that type of woman that had books in her stove, okay? So I had to learn how to cook. I had to cook for breakfast, lunch, dinner. I had to pack his lunch. I had to pack my lunch. I had to pack my daughter's lunch. Oh, a nightmare. I know some people are like, no. Everyone has a thing that they have to give up and it's hard. Yours may be shoes. Yours may be jewelry. Mine was having to get in that kitchen and cook. And now I can say, hey, babe, because we budget and we plan for it. We have a section for eating out. We have the grocery portion and we have the eating out. That's what I want to do. I don't buy bags. I like to go out. So we get to do that on a whim, and I love it. My husband, he gets to do all of his, oh my God, he's been to so many concerts this year. That's his thing. He loves Christian hip hop. He's all over the place. We have 3 vacations scheduled this year, 2 short ones and a long one, and we're gonna pick that up. But the 2 biggest things of all is we have our emergency fund. We're able to contribute to our daughter's college fund because we stopped all of that, and we sponsor children now. It's an organization called Food for the Hungry. I believe that's the name. But we're able to sponsor a couple of kids, 5 kids each month. In other countries, we're able to do that and give and be generous because we now have, it's not even so much the income, we just have the disposable income because we manage our money wisely to do what we want. And we have something called the Fun Fund. I don't know if people do that. being that we budget and do everything together, it's like, how can he surprise me? How can I surprise him now that we're able to have more money to do things? So we came up with something called the Fun Fund, and it's part of our spending plan, our budget. You know, you everyone who you're going to pay what it's allocated for, and after all of that is done, because every dollar has to be assigned, we split that amount in half. So let's say if it's $200 or $150, or if it's $50 for that month because the car insurance is due, however it goes, you split that in half. It's his, that's mine. And then that's a great way you're able to still surprise your spouse by not keeping secrets when it comes to the money. Because that was a complaint of his. He wanted to do stuff for me and he couldn't. So that's just a solution for free. I'm throwing that out there. Married couples, get yourself a fun fund, make it an equal amount. That's spouses, that's yours. Do what you want with the money. And that's your little bit of freedom and independence in your marriage. I'm just saying. That's what we do.
Love it. Love it. We're big time proponents of people reading as a tool, a weapon to fuel them to debt freedom. Are there any book recommendations that you would tell people to check out that was helpful to you?
Well, Proverbs, I think I kept saying that, like Proverbs all day. But Financial Peace by Dave Ramsey. That was a great book, because when I was down and in the dumps and I found it said financial peace, I was like, what is this? And I read it, and oh boy, it's two huge takeaways from that book. Am I allowed to throw that out there? Okay, one was his wife, I forget her name, but he was writing the book, but at the end of each chapter, she had like a portion where she could comment or give her viewpoint of what they did. And then the second big thing was, he said there's a condition called stuffitis. I thought that was so funny. I was like, yes, we have a disease called stuffitis. And this is why we keep using these credit cards and buying all of this nonsense we don't need, because we think we need all of this stuff. And there's nothing wrong with getting things that you can afford. But what I learned just from the stuffitis with me going on with that is, just because you can afford the payments, it doesn't mean that you can afford the item. So if you get the car, we could afford the payments. But if we could really afford the car, we would have just been able to write the check. So little things like that really help. So Financial Peace, it'll bring you peace and get rid of that stuffitis. Definitely. Great book.
Now, if there happens to be somebody listening to your story, your advice, and they love your story, inspired, but then they kind of settle down and they think about the debt that they're in versus the income that they have, the situation that's personalized to their life, and they become discouraged all over again. Like, man, I know Touya did it, but I don't know if I can. What words of encouragement would you offer to that person?
Versus, you can absolutely do this. But you have to want to do it. You have to dig deep down inside yourself, and you need to find a reason for why you want to get out of debt. Being out of debt, just saying it, in my opinion, that is not enough. When you find your why will be your motivation. And if your why is that important to you, when you feel discouraged, when you feel like giving up, think and remember and focus on your why. Your why could be leaving a legacy for your children. Your why could be giving more money to your church. Your why could be giving money to a school. Your why could be you just want to change careers and you feel trapped in the job that you're in and you feel stuck because you have so many payments. Whatever your why is, you have to find which true deep down in your heart what resonates. Find your why. And whenever you feel like giving up and quitting, remember your why. Put it on the wall in a nice place in your apartment, on your phone, however you do it, and look at your why. And that'll be your reminder. I can't give up. And that's the reason why. I'm looking to the right because mine was on that wall. Sorry, guys. Get your why. The why is very important.
I love that. I love that. So tell everybody about your website and how they can connect with you.
Oh, that's so nice, Talent. Thank you. In addition to his and her money. Very good. Mine is break free and win because that's what I did. You can break free and win. It's breakfreeandwin.com. I put a lot of tools up there that I've actually created, like meal plans, my actual budgeting plan, my budgeting tool, whatever you need. Just goes a bunch of resources. Breakfreeandwin.com. You can break free. You can win. I broke free. I won. I'm just here to encourage you and to help you do it too. That's it.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Touya, this has been incredible. You surely got everybody fired up and ready to go. So we really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to share your story with our audience today.
Thank you so much for having me. Everyone, you can do this. Be encouraged. You can get out of debt. Don't give up. Keep in the fight. I can't wait to hear your story.